Okay, so I am working on, I'll actually just send this link to you with a dump of ideas, but also like organized in an understandable way.
Okay.
So I'm working on um, the content or basically the outline for the 3-day educational program.
Okay.
But where I started in that document, I'll make sure that you have access to it. Where I started in that document was just going over again what the pain points were and then what I could do, or like how, like what I felt like I was prepared to address or what I wanted to address from those pain points.
Okay. It hasn't let me in yet.
Okay.
I had to request access.
Um, you should have access now. Refresh again and see if it comes up.
Okay, let's see here. All right.
Awesome. Cool. So I wanted to go fancy and like do a presentation, but I didn't get there. But what you can see is my thought process. So the top part here are all the pain, like the main pain points. Um, from here, where it says like the 3-month program addresses, I wanted to then, from those pain points, like identify the things that I could help with or address in the 3-month program. And then right under that are like the main things that the 3-day educational series will cover.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the 3-month program? What is that all
So
about?
that's like the coaching program, the offer, but I felt
Oh,
like this would lead
okay.
to the offer.
Okay. But you don't want to bring that up prior to you being
Mm,
in the session though, right?
no, no. So none of these things are things that they would see.
Okay.
Um, where they would see is, I think, like starting from where it says the agenda. What page is this? Like page 4?
When does this start?
Hmm?
When does this event kick off?
October 22nd.
Okay.
Hmm. So this top piece, these 2 pages are just like for our background and for the conversation.
Got it. Okay.
Hmm.
All right. Addresses. Okay. Hey, Grace. Okay, so here's what I'm seeing. One is, and I'm just gonna sort of share my screen too, so
Okay.
look at it that way. Okay. Okay, so first thing that stands out to me is that these things are sort of answers, not questions in their mind.
Okay.
So that could just be a matter of rephrasing these. So it's like you're essentially wanting to create curiosity here, right? So find out the unknown factors that stall the birthing process.
Mhm.
And it's like, oh, what are these factors? These
Mhm.
are one of the things that I've been doing that have been preventing me from giving birth. You know what I mean? So like, you want to create. So you want to rephrase these to be more curious for people to attend.
Okay.
Um,
Actually, Jamila,
uh-huh.
just scroll down to like where it says agenda for a 3-day program. So I think this is how I framed it for the audience. And they're still like working titles, but like this is a language that I would share with them.
Yeah, it still feels like answers to me versus like questions. Oh, the first one feels more like a question, how our bodies prepare for the birthing process. But it sounds kind of like uh, flat. You know what I mean? Like not like exciting, like getting them inspired to think about this, right? So how our bodies prepare for the birthing process. Sounds like I'm showing up to some scientific thing, you know? And I know that's not how you're going to deliver it. So you haven't added any sort of like personality into it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the unique insight teaser around how the body prepares for the birthing process?
Okay.
What is, you have an idea?
I do. So
Okay.
the unique insight is that whenever we don't feel mentally and emotionally prepared, like if we don't think that we have everything in order, like the right partner, or the right career, or being able to make everything work, like that serves as a blockage when we're trying to become pregnant and have children. So it's like the body needs to like, or our system needs to start checking off the boxes before we feel ready for pregnancy.
Okay.
So
Then it might be that you're saying, you know, learning the secret to how, you know, being or feeling unorganized is preventing your body from birth.
mm,
Right. So then it's like, oh, okay, that sounds interesting.
yeah.
Um, and then, you know, and also like I'm just curious again with this word trauma. Are these words that people are using, your people? I don't know.
The one person who used it was kind of like in the helping profession.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't hear my friends talking about trauma.
okay.
You know, I think they like, I mean, like keep it real and like talk to a person, you know what I mean? Like learn how to overcome the loss of a child and get back on, you know, the birthing path, right? Or get back on the, you know, I don't know. That word birthing doesn't resonate with me either, but I don't know. I don't hear people saying that unless they're doctors or something. You know, like that's not how people
Yeah.
talk. So to me, like that's gonna be like your biggest thing is you gotta get out of your own head. Like you're in all these classes and all this stuff, and they're talking about things in a very like, you know, like sort of scientific and official way,
Yeah.
and that's unrelatable to people.
Okay.
So you just want to talk more like what would you say to a friend, right? So
Mhm.
how to get over the loss of a birth and try to start having a baby again.
Yeah. Okay.
Or maybe you tease it even more like the 4 steps to getting over the loss of a birth and start having a baby and start trying to have a baby again. Like people will say like, you know, if they're talking about having children, they're like, oh, we're trying. You
Yeah.
know, like those are terms that they use. You want to like talk human, how people talk versus scientific.
Yeah. Okay.
And then what? Okay, so day one. How long is day one? Of 7 to 8:30 an hour. This seems like a lot of stuff. Topic one, topic two. Why is there so much? I would do 3 topics, one for each day.
One for each day.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
like doing like some kind of like, you know, graduate level course here. Like this is just to like, this is like, what are the 3 things that they need to know that are going to help them to make a decision about working with you?
Okay.
So like, which one of these do you feel like, I don't know if I would show up to hear something about the problem with the healthcare system. That sounds like a snooze fest.
It was a big thing. Um, so and it was biggest for women who have already like had a loss because they felt like they were dismissed in the healthcare system. they were afraid to go back through the pregnancy process because, one, they were being considered as high risk pregnant women. And so they would go through certain procedures that they didn't want to go through, but had to go through because of the category that they now fell in. So I don't know if it's the wording that needs to be different,
Yes,
but
then it might be like how to navigate healthcare as a high risk pregnancy.
oh, okay.
But again, I don't know that that's what you need. You have to think about this is just the starting point
Yeah.
of getting them to realize that having support can help them in this process.
That's the biggest thing. That's
me,
where I came down to.
So
like
to me, that sounds more like a back end conversation than a front end conversation.
Okay.
Like something that you can talk them through once they're actually a client, not something that's going to help them to understand that there's a way to address their pain, right? So if we go back to let me just kind of move our photos out of the way. All right, let me get back to where are the pain points for them are all these things, right? Isolation or lack of support. So such as infertility loss is isolating. Right, so same thing here, like what I get out of this more from a human perspective is the shame.
Yeah.
Right, so like how to get over the shame of losing a child, or how to get over the shame of not being able to give birth.
Yeah.
So like you already know that they lack support, right? But the thing is that they feel shameful about it.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like you're providing answers, not the questions.
Okay.
Like you're not speaking to. So this is good to like keep for yourself, but then in terms of them, right? What you're going to speak to is the fact that they feel a lot of shame.
Yeah.
Around telling their story, telling their friends. I had a friend who recently revealed to me that she lost a child. I had no idea. I was like so shocked. Like, how the hell did I not know?
Yeah.
And so she, you feel shameful, you feel embarrassed, you're mourning. You're trying to figure out, like, is there what's wrong with me?
Right.
So that's what I would speak to. Like, you've got to tap into the emotion of this thing, not the surface level stuff.
Right.
Again, like broken medical system, to me, that just, I don't know. Like for me, I'm never going from a negative perspective. I'm always like, let's talk about how to navigate the medical system versus talking about that it's broken. Like talking about the fact that it's broken is not actually helpful. We already know it's broken. Everyone knows it's broken, whether they're trying to give a child or not. Right? So I would more speak to how to navigate that versus, sort of stating the obvious.
Okay.
And then around the partner, right? So it's like how to know when it's the right time to have birth, or how to know if you're with the right partner to plan a family. Right? So then like now you can reveal some secrets to them. Yeah. Okay, here's the 10 questions that you need to ask your partner or ask yourself. Maybe you have a self quiz and a partner quiz. So can you see how that moves from like just being like super scientific to being like more personal, and also in a way that you can make it super practical?
Yeah.
Right. And so something like the 10 question quiz is even like a handout or something that you can give them for one of the days of the workshop. it could also be a lead in to book a call with you, right? So if you want to discuss your score and next steps based on that, then book a call with me. Yeah, so you got to put yourself in their head. There's a woman named Hannah Brofman. Are you familiar with her? She is a really popular DJ and person in the health and wellness space. She's based in New York. But she just revealed that she lost a child. Her and her partner lost a child. Hannah Brofman, Brofman, and Brandon Fallis. Okay, this is her. I think it's on Brandon's channel. Lost baby.
Is it Anna, Anna, or H?
H, Hannah.
Oh, okay.
Hannah Brofman. Can you see my screen? I already have it up. It's just.
Oh, yeah.
It's just. I'm just trying to find the exact video. I think it's on his channel. Brendan is her husband.
Okay.
But here, our pregnancy journey. This is the video.
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can help.
So I'm gonna send this to you in the chat.
Thank you.
But the thing is, you should listen to this and listen to how she's talking about it. What she's saying, you know, like what her pains are, her struggles, why she hadn't shared it before, what they're thinking about doing. And you got to get in your customer's head and out of your head.
Okay.
Okay, so that's that. Yeah, so listen to that. It's really good. And I think it'll help you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the thing is, you got to cut this thing down. And you're spending way too much time on this. Like, I'm feeling like this is becoming a distraction for you. So this is not meant to be like a super long thing. Like, for example, when I do our Planner Palooza, I don't know, maybe I sit down for like 2 hours or 3 hours and I hash out the curriculum. And then I create an outline of talking points. And then maybe I might spend another sitting of 4 hours or 3 hours. Now, not even that much, building the PowerPoints for each of the days.
Okay.
But not even that much, honestly, because I just started like, I take an old PowerPoint and like each PowerPoint is templated. So it's like, first I'm going to address why this is important. Then I'm going to like why it's important that you learn this. Then I'm going to address like whatever it is that I'm teaching for the day. And then I'm going to do the call to action.
Okay.
So there's like just a set format for each. And I always start off with like the rules of engagement. So here's what today is about. Here's what the next 3 days about. Here's why we're doing this. Here's a little bit about the company, but I keep all of that pretty short and quick.
Okay.
And then like get into the content. So like every single PowerPoint is just like, the format is templated, and then I'm just reusing the same slides and changing the text.
Okay.
And that's it. So you're like, the focus, it doesn't matter if you have all this content and you haven't done the work of marketing and get people to show up. Like that's where you like just catch yourself that you like to stay in creation mode. And you have to train yourself like that you cannot stay in creation mode. Okay, so let's just say if I was really being a slacker, right, it would take me 2 half days to do all of Planner Palooza. And then that's it. So you can't like be massaging this for forever. You got to move on to the marketing. Is your Eventbrite up?
Yeah, it's up. Which I even struggled with because of my perfectionism, but I put it up because I just needed to have it up. But I was focused on the content because I felt like I wanted to like address all of the things that had come up. And I felt like if each call was like an hour and a half and I'm having 3 of those calls, then it needed to be something solid enough that I could talk about for an hour and like have extra time for a Q&A or, whatever.
Okay. All right. So there's something else important here for you to know. Like, honestly, I would try to do this in an hour versus an hour and a half.
Okay.
If it goes to an hour and a half, then I would let that be because people have questions.
Okay.
The other thing is I would be careful about like teaching too much. Because what you don't want to do is feel like you taught them everything that they need to do. And so there's no reason to book a call with you. You gave them every single thing that they're supposed to do. So why do I even need to talk with you or work with you?
Right.
More of what you're doing is telling them the what. Right? Like you're feeling shame. Here's why you're feeling shame. Right? Here's where the shame is coming from. Give examples of stories of, have you been hiding this from your friends? Do you feel like you don't have anybody that can relate to your experience? Have you felt like you're less of a woman because you're not doing what quote unquote people say is the thing that women should be able to do? Right. Like that's more of what you're teaching. Like you're affirming that what they're feeling is normal and that there are other women experiencing this and that they're not alone in the process. You're not telling them the what to do to solve it.
So that's exactly where my mind was going.
Yeah, I know. That's why they have to hire you, because they need to know how to solve it.
Okay. So from there, where do I go? Because I feel like even though I'm not giving them all of this, I should give them a little piece so they know what to expect when they work with me.
But it would just simply be a teaser, like, right. So you might say like, I'm trying to see if I can stick with the same example around the shame, right? So you might say that, the way to address the same shame is by having, I'm just trying to make sure it's not too much on the how-to side. Might be, what's coming to mind is having a trusted person that has gone through the experience that you can talk to about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that might be like a simple example. You're not going to give them the how to get the trusted person, right? You're just like, you need to have, and if you've been feeling this and you've been feeling ashamed of like letting your friends know, that's okay. Like maybe it's that you need a neutral party, you know, like someone that is sort of in a judgment-free zone about it, who's not going to, you know, make you feel bad about it or struggle because they don't know what the things to say are or any of that, right? Like you just maybe need to identify a person that can really support you in a way that's not, what am I trying to say? Like sometimes our friends try to be helpful, but they're not helpful, you know? Like they're saying all the wrong stuff. Yeah, right. So this is how you want to talk to them on the call. Like, you know, your friends are like, they're gonna say all the wrong stuff. They're gonna ask the stupid questions. Well, you know, when did y'all get pregnant? How did y'all do it? Was it from the back? Was it from the front? You don't want to have that conversation with your friends. You need somebody you can talk to. You know what I mean? Like, just be human with them. The other thing that's probably going to be important for you is, if you don't already have this, is having some sort of like bite-sized version of your personal story to share with them. And there is a format that you can use for that, which is okay. So
and that would be in the intro, right?
When
I talk about,
yeah. So in the intro, it would be so here's the format for your personal story, and this shouldn't be any more than like 3 minutes, 4 minutes tops, right? So the format would be an intro. The second point would be your deepest desires. Third point would be the reality. Fourth point would be your rock bottom. And then the fifth point would be your light bulb moment.
What's the reality?
Okay, so let's just walk through the whole thing, right? So in the intro, you're going to just say something basic that introduces yourself that they might relate to. So for example, I might say, you know, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, to be able to make my own schedule, travel the world, you know, be able to get married and live happily ever after, right? So like, that might just be like a super basic intro, right? So your intro might be something like, you know, I always wanted to be a mom, or it could just be something that's about you, right? That they can identify with, right? So when I say that I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, then I'll say to other people, is there anyone else who's always wanted to be an entrepreneur? And then a lot of people are usually like, yes, me too. I always knew since I was a kid, right? So it's basically like I'm calling out my people and creating this
connection.
Yes, creating this connection up front. So that's the intro. Okay, so deepest desires. So what were your deepest desires when it comes to, you know, your line of work and having a family and a baby and all that stuff? What's your deepest desire there?
I wanted to have like a family and balance in my life. So like a career and a family, and just make everything work.
That doesn't sound like your deepest desires. What's your deepest desire?
Deepest desires.
At emotional level.
No, or before? Right now.
It could be before. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I think I would think of it as before. Yeah, before, because we're talking about your story in terms of what brought you to this work.
Deepest desires. I feel like that was it. Like I wanted to create a life where I had a family, and I...
Why do you want a family?
I want a family because I love children.
Okay, why do you love children?
Um, the only thing that I can think of right now, and I know that this isn't before, but like I gave birth to this beautiful baby boy and I want him back. So that feels like my deepest desire, but it's not like the thing from before. Before, it just felt like having a family was like the next step to like completing, you know, your life as it should be.
Okay. You got
Uh,
to figure out what the deepest desires around that. And it might take you to think
mm,
about it. But like, let's just say using, my example, my deepest desire around always wanting to be an entrepreneur is
mm,
for financial freedom, being able to um, create a legacy for my family, to change the financial future of
mm,
my family, right? That was my deepest desire and is my deepest desire around doing it, right? Like I never want my mom and dad as they get older to have to want for anything. I never want my kids to have to want for anything. Like I want to be able to have it so that my kids and my kids' kids are taken care of,
yeah.
right? So that's like a deep desire. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't want it to feel surface level. Like this is really an opportunity to connect with them. So you got to be transparent and vulnerable here. Um, okay, next is the reality, right? So your deepest desire was to, maybe your deepest desire was around being a mom and maybe why you wanted to be a mom.
Mm-hmm.
And then what was the reality though? The reality was what? Did you have a troubled pregnancy?
Yeah, the reality was that I had one pregnancy loss, and
Mm-hmm.
then in my second pregnancy went into preterm labor and lost the infant.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
So then that's going to be the reality. So were there like also challenges in the pregnancy, like in the first time around?
There were no challenges in the pregnancy, but the second pregnancy, because I was deemed high risk, there was a lot of medical intervention that posed just like a lot of emotional and physical challenges for me.
Okay, got it. All right, that's fine. So keep in mind though, these are no more than like 2 sentences. Okay, so you're
Mm.
going to just very quickly. So like how you just now said it was perfect. Like
Mm.
the reality was, you know, having becoming that mom wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. The first
Mm.
time around, here's what's happened, and the second time around, here's
Mhm.
what happened.
Got it.
But you're just sort of like stating the facts,
Mhm.
right? And then the rock bottom is the emotion around that,
Mm.
right? So what happened at your rock bottom? So your
Um,
rock bottom would be losing the baby, right?
yeah.
Baby passing away.
Mhm.
And then what were you thinking and feeling in that moment?
Um, like life was unfair.
That's perfect. Put that down. Like say that. I'm like, girl, I was about to tear was about to fall as soon as you said that. I was like, shit, I've totally felt that. Like if people can relate to that. You see what's happening? They're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And then they're like, she gets it.
Mhm.
Because other people have thought that. And that's how you have to talk to them.
Got it.
From the place of someone who's been there.
Mhm.
Like I know you feel like life is unfair. You know what I mean? Like that's something you can say like later,
Yeah.
too, but like say it there. You
Yeah.
felt like life was unfair. What else?
Um, I felt like I was constantly going through struggles. Um,
Be specific. What struggles?
well, going back to childhood, I don't know. I don't know how deep I'll get or how deep I need to get, but what I'm thinking is that I had a really tough childhood. And so I felt like the rest of my life should have been easy, but it's like this just continuous journey of like struggles and having to fight to overcome things. Um, and then the other thing too was there were no answers from my doctors, like what was going on with my body. And so I felt as though I had no control in the situation. Like, how could I feel empowered going through another pregnancy if I didn't.
Okay, so put that part. The doctors were, say what you just said around the doctors, but
Mm-hmm.
leave a space because we're gonna include that other part before the.
Okay. Okay.
But you said no answers from the doctors. There was something else you said about you didn't know what to do. Say that again. You said that.
Because there were no answers from the doctors, I didn't know what I could do to prevent another loss.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, and maybe it's prevent another loss, or maybe what you were feeling at the time is you don't even know if you should even try again in the first place.
Yeah.
Right. So, so maybe you put that too, like, you know. Okay, but then you said the part about your childhood, right? So that might be related to your deepest desire. Maybe part of, and I don't know, I'm making this shit up, but I'm saying like, I'm trying to put it, not making it up, but trying to piece this thing together. Obviously, I don't know the whole story, but like maybe part of your deepest desire was that being a mom meant for you that you got to kind of make up for your childhood. Right, like you didn't have, you had a tough childhood, and this was your chance to kind of like.
It's linked to it now that you say that. So, my mother had to leave us because my father was like an abusive, alcoholic, crazy person, and I knew that the mother that I was going to be was the mother who was present, so the mother who was physically there, but also the mother who could also like have her dreams of, you know, doing the kind of work that I want to do in the world, like the healing work.
You don't have to say all that, but the dreams. Yeah. Okay, I love that. So say the part about the kind of, your deepest desires was to be the kind of mother that could be fully present for her child.
Yeah.
And be able to have like a fulfilling career, like that you could have both.
Yeah.
Right. And you can say that so was your mom like did she stay at home? Was she a working mom? Like what was that?
She was like a stay-at-home mom, but she also like worked as like a hairdresser and running a shop and other stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that you have the option here to just sort of go straight to the deep desire of you wanted to be the kind of mother fully present. Or if you want, you can just add a quick thing to say that, you know, I had a troubled childhood, which put inside of me that I wanted to be a certain type of mom. Because that's something that someone can relate to.
Yeah.
You don't, you know, if you're not comfortable, you don't have to say all the things behind it, right? But just that it was, you know, troubled and complicated, and it put into motion for you, like, I will never create this experience for my child. And so I want to be the kind of mother who could do blah, 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 fully present, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then,
the light bulb?
Yeah, the light bulb. So what was your insight?
My insight was that it's like trying to have a baby wasn't just like, you know, having sex and getting pregnant alone. There were like all these different things that were involved, such as just like healing from stuff that I was holding on to in my body, including the previous losses and holding on to the emotional pain from that. But also through, you know, the doula work and the somatic therapy work, understanding how important it is to have support and to feel balanced during pregnancy.
Okay, what did you do though? So I think that's fine, but what did you do?
What do you mean?
What was your light bulb in that experience that even made you feel like you wanted to try again, that you wanted to support other people in this work?
Oh, so one thing that was pivotal is from going through pregnancy number 1 and pregnancy number 2, I just like was reading up a lot and really educating myself so that one, I felt informed. So I like wasn't just depending on my doctors. Like I was doing my own research. Um and the first loss was just, I'm about to use the word trauma, but it, like how I describe it, it's like there was like a hurricane that came through my body and like ripped out the baby. That's just like how hard it felt. And the second
But that's
process,
like a phrase you should use, you know?
okay,
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're just talking human.
okay,
You know what I mean? So that's something you can use, you know, wherever. Not necessarily here, but like in one of the sessions, as you described.
right.
Like,
So
you
that,
might feel like there's a hurricane that came through your body
yeah,
right now. You know, like you can say that to your people.
yeah. And then for the second one, it I just felt really present in my body, and I felt like I was in control of the situation. So obviously the outcome from there is that, you know, the baby was born prematurely because there were like medical things going on. But how I showed up as a mother was totally different from how I was in the first experience. So like one of it was just like educating myself so that I had the information that I needed to feel empowered. And from healing through that, it was like the support of others and the community that I was in that helped me to move through that. But I also know that there are other women and families who are still working through like that pain and aren't at the stage where they can even think of having a baby.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what I would say, let me just, Grace is sending me a message. Let me just. She has a call next. So to me, it sounds like the light bulb moment was realizing that there was more to having a baby than just, you know, having sex, and that there's other components that you discovered that allowed you to heal through that process and feel comfortable trying again.
Okay.
And it's that process that you teach other women. In your business.
Got it.
And that's your driving force today, to make sure that no other woman ever feels like they're not worthy when they have suffered from the loss of a child.
Yeah. Okay. Like this is literally the light bulb moment for me. Like, oh, okay. This is what we've been leading to.
Okay, so now you have it, right? So now what you want to think about is, what are those areas, right? And so if one of those areas is letting go of the shame, or like dealing with the shame, right, then that's workshop day 1. Then what's the second area?
Okay. Letting go of the shame. I think it's like finding support around them, meaning like from their partners. No, from their partner.
I wouldn't define the support because the support is different for everybody, but it is having someone to talk to, right?
Yeah.
Who is not, you know, because they've been hiding out in this the whole time. What's your second workshop or second thing?
I have it as the one about trauma, like how past traumatic experiences affect.
Yeah, so maybe the like first is about, I would think of this sequentially if you could. So maybe first is about you know, dealing with the shame part. Then maybe next it's about healing from the experience, and then next it's about the what they need, right? Like here's the real thing you need, which is the emotional health, right? For your body to be in a place that it can, you know, kind of grow a baby. So, right? So that seems like a logical 3-step process.
1 and 2 feel like they're almost the same.
Yeah, I agree. So then you think about what's the second one?
I feel like because the doctor thing was so big, but what's the way that we talked about reframing that? Oh, navigating the medical system. So that feels like it should be 3.
But it's not the next logical step.
Yeah. Right.
So what you might talk about here is like, you might talk about emotional health as number 2, and day 3 might be like different modalities, right? And then you can talk about somatic therapy. You can talk about coaching. You can talk about yeah, maybe just those 2.
Okay.
Right. So then day 3 is like, you know, finding the support you need or something like that, or different modalities, or like you know, using body work to prepare for pregnancy. Right. And so again, you're not going to teach them somatic therapy, right? You're just going to talk about like what it is, why it's beneficial, maybe some results that women have seen in using it. Okay, make sense?
It does.
All right, so you gotta just like knock this out, women.
Yeah.
Be done with it, seriously.
Yeah. I went on like a whole deep journey. It's fine.
Yeah, but also just see how, I mean, these day 1, day 2, day 3 are like perfect for this talk, but this can also similarly be the initial thoughts around your framework, right? So what are the steps? What is the process that you're taking people through? Right? You want to, and you're not going to answer that before this thing. I don't want you to try to, but that's what I'm saying is could be, you know, sort of the next unfolding of this is really thinking about what is your signature framework.
Right.
Because that makes it even more enticing, because it's like, okay, well, you know, now this isn't just a birthing coach or a doula or someone who does somatic therapy. Like she actually has a process.
Yeah.
A signature process that she takes people through, which helps them to get the results, right? So, And what you might think about, because I always like it if the process is proven. What you might think about is, what did you do between birth 1 and birth 2?
Mm-hmm.
What were the steps that you took to be able to get pregnant again?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that might be the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's fine that I don't know what to call myself yet, because I'm still figuring out what my process is.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah, don't get hung up on that.
Okay.
You can call yourself a coach. You don't have to label the type of coach.
Okay.
You're a coach who helps women, you know, plan to have a baby. Or no, people go from, what do we talk about it? Desire to delivery.
Delivery.
Right? I'm a coach that helps women that want to become moms go from desire to delivery.
Okay.
Or women who've been, you know, having trouble becoming a mom go from desire to delivery. Who've had challenges. I help women who've had challenges becoming a mom go from desire to delivery. Which is much better than saying I'm an XYZ coach, because people really want to know how you can help them.
Yeah.
Right. Boom. There you go. All right. Knock this out, lady.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Seriously, like give yourself, you know, an hour per workshop and make the outline. And I like using the strategy of like, what are the 6 points that I'm going to teach? Right. And use the framework that we talked about of like, you know, obviously you're going to kick off by just mentioning that this is a series and there's another 2 days. So if they're not signed up for those days, get signed up. Here's the what to expect, and then jump right into introducing yourself. And then what are the 6 things you're going to cover, or 3 things or 4 things, you know, like just decide like, okay, I'm going to make 4 points in every workshop, or I'm going to make 5 points or 3 points, and just like write out those points. And then that's it. Like move on with your life, and then make a bullet under, okay, what are the things I need to say for point 1? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, what are things I need to say for point 2? Boom, 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 boom. Make your bullets. Point 3, boom, 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 boom. That's it. It doesn't take you more than an hour to do that for each session.
Okay.
And then that's it. Just be done with it. So you got 3 hours to like knock this out.
Okay.
All right. And let me know when you're done. So when are you going to work on this? Today, tomorrow? When are you going to get this done?
Today.
All right. So let me know when it's done.
Yeah.
Just send me a Trello message, capital DONE.
Okay.
Explanation. All right. Have an awesome rest of the day.
Thank you. I'm also speaking as the keynote for the pregnancy and infant loss walk tomorrow. So
nice.
the leader of the nonprofit group that I would include a bit about the work that I've been doing. And the fact that I also have it up on Eventbrite means that people can already go and sign up.
Yeah, just make sure you edit your description based on what we talked about today.
I will.
Make it less scientific and technical and more, girl, I get you. Girlfriend, I get you. Okay, it should feel like that. Girlfriend, I get you and I got you.
Okay.
Right? So change up the language.
All right. Thank you.
If you're feeling trauma, contact me. We were like, no, I don't want to talk about trauma. I want to talk about how to get over it. All right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.